Africa's music doesn't just play, it speaks. And it speaks in rhythm, in ritual, in response. This is the story of call and response, a musical dialogue that echoes through the continent's history and reverberates across the globe. What is call and response? Call and response is more than a mere technique. It's a conversation woven into the fabric of African culture. At its core, it's a musical dialogue between a leader and a group, found not only in music, but in storytelling, ritual, and labor. This dynamic interaction encourages participation, fosters unity, and sparks improvisation. It's a living, breathing exchange that transforms listeners into active participants. Origins in African villages. The roots of call and response run deep in African villages, where it has long been an integral part of daily life. From ceremonies to farming, from healing rituals to worship, this rhythmic dialogue has served as a unifying force. In Itibio traditions, a leader might call out a proverb, with the community responding in unison. Yoruba ceremonies often feature a priest's chant met with a chorus of voices. Zulu warriors historically used call and response in their preparation for battle, while Arkan drumming circles rely on this technique to create complex polyrhythms. These examples barely scratch the surface of a practice that serves as Africa's communal heartbeat. Storytelling through rhythm. Storytelling through rhythm is another vital aspect of call and response. Griots and oral historians have long used musical cues to engage their audiences and preserve cultural memory. As the griot calls out a line of a story, the audience's response serves both as affirmation and a trigger for collective memory. In Senegal, the epic of Sundiata is kept alive through such exchanges. South African praise poets use call and response to celebrate heroes past and present. From Ethiopia's Asmari to Kenya's Oruti players, from Mali's Kora masters to Nigeria's talking drummers, the story lives in the space between the call and the echo. Spirituality and ritual. In the realm of spirituality and ritual, call and response takes on an even deeper significance. It's used in ancestral invocation, healing dances, and initiation rites across the continent. The call becomes an offering, and the response an acceptance. In Coptic Christian music of Egypt and Ethiopia, a deacon's chant is met with the congregation's reply. The Zulu Izakothamia choral tradition, made famous by Ladysmith Black Mambazo, uses call and response to create harmony and spiritual uplift. In West African Vodun ceremonies, drumming and chanting create a dialogue between the physical and spiritual worlds. In these sacred spaces, rhythm becomes prayer, and the community's voice becomes one. African drumming traditions. African drumming traditions offer some of the most vivid examples of call and response. A master drummer leads, and the ensemble responds, creating layers of interlocking rhythms. This is where improvisation flourishes as drummers engage in musical conversation. The djembe of West Africa, the talking drum of the Yoruba, the ngoma of Central and Southern Africa, and the sabar of Senegal each has its own voice in this rhythmic dialogue. When the drum speaks, the village answers, creating a symphony of community and culture. Diaspora and global influence. The power of call and response didn't remain confined to the African continent. As people were forcibly displaced through the slave trade, they carried this musical DNA with them. In the Americas, it evolved into work songs and field hollers, providing rhythm for labor and a coded language of resistance. It became the foundation of gospel music, where a preacher's call is met with the congregation's fervent response. Blues musicians used it to express pain and resilience, while jazz artists transformed it into a sophisticated form of musical conversation. Today, call and response continues to shape global popular music. Hip-hop's roots in African oral traditions are evident in its use of this technique. From MC-audience interactions to the structure of verses and choruses, reggae's one-drop rhythm often incorporates call and response patterns. Even mainstream pop music frequently employs this structure, though listeners might not always recognize its African origins. Artists like Miriam Makeba brought traditional call and response to international audiences, while Fela Kuti's Afrobeat fused it with funk and jazz. Ladysmith Black Mambazo's collaborations with Paul Simon introduced many to the power of African choral traditions. Contemporary artists like Arkan, Beyonce, and Rihanna have all incorporated elements of call and response into their music, whether consciously or as part of their cultural inheritance. Africa's rhythm crossed oceans and kept its voice, continuing to influence and shape global musical landscapes. Modern revival and innovation. In recent years, there's been a vibrant revival and innovation of call and response techniques. Youth-led choirs across Africa are breathing new life into traditional forms, while producers are using digital sampling to create new dialogues between past and present. Afrobeat fusion artists are finding fresh ways to incorporate call and response into electronic dance music. Even social media has embraced this ancient technique, with TikTok challenges often structured around call and response patterns. Educational programs are also playing a crucial role in preserving and promoting these traditions. Rhythm literacy programs in schools teach children the basics of call and response, ensuring that these cultural practices continue to thrive. Music therapy programs are harnessing its power for healing and community building. In urban and rural settings alike, drum circles and community music events are keeping the spirit of call and response alive. Conclusion: and reclaiming the rhythm, the story of call and response is far from over. It continues to evolve, adapting to new contexts while retaining its essential power to unite, inspire, and move people. From ancient villages to modern cities, from traditional ceremonies to digital platforms, the echo continues in every beat, every remix, every shared moment of musical connection. Africa didn't just make music, it made meaning. Its rhythms have shaped not only the continent's cultural landscape, but the world's musical heritage. Call and response is more than a technique. It's a philosophy, a way of engaging with the world that emphasizes community, participation, and the power of collective voice. As we listen to the music around us, whether it's chart-topping hits or underground tracks, we can often hear the echoes of this African innovation. It reminds us that music is not just something to be consumed passively, but a living, breathing dialogue that invites us to participate, to respond, to become part of something larger than ourselves. Africa echoed first, and the world continues to answer. In every call and response, we hear the heartbeat of human connection, the rhythm of shared experience, and the enduring power of African musical traditions.